Do you want your mind to always be under your control and for you to make it work according to your will? If so, make sure to watch this video until the end. I'm going to share a story with you that holds hidden lessons connected to your life. These lessons will prove to be extremely useful, and by the end, you'll understand how to bring your mind under your control. Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled over a kingdom. He had a deep love for horses and owned 4 wild ones. The king was fond of these horses and wished for someone to train them well so that he could ride them. However, despite many attempts, no trainer was able to tame them. Every time a trainer tried, the horses threw them off. The king loved these horses so much that he refused to allow anyone to treat them harshly or use force to train them. He declared throughout the kingdom that anyone who could properly train these horses would be rewarded with 100,000 gold coins. Many people came with the hope of winning the reward, but they ended up injuring themselves, falling off the horses and breaking their bones. One day, a young trainer came to the king and said, "I can train your horses, but I have 2 conditions." The king, somewhat surprised, asked, "What are your conditions?" The trainer replied, "First, I need a year's time to train the horses, and second, I need a large and open space where I can live with the horses, take care of them, and provide them with food and water. The space must have high walls so that no one can disturb me." The king thought that if he had already gone this far, he might as well give it a try. He agreed and said, "Okay, come tomorrow and I'll fulfill all your conditions." The trainer arrived the next day, and the king kept his promise. He led the horses into a large enclosure and let them roam freely. The trainer began running along the walls of the enclosure. After some time, he fed the horses, gave them water, and rested in the same enclosure with them. The horses were still free, with no ropes or restraints used. In the evening, the trainer got up again and started running along the wall, with the horses following him. After feeding them, he tied them for the night, laid down with them on a mat and slept. The next morning, he repeated the same routine. Day after day, the trainer kept the horses free, fed them, bathed them, played with them, and spent time with them. Slowly, the horses began to view the trainer as their friend. They felt free and began trusting him. 6 months later, the king came to see how the horses were doing. The king saw the trainer running ahead with the horses following him. He was impressed and left, satisfied. When the year had passed, the trainer informed the king that the horses were ready. The king eagerly went to see them. When the king arrived, the trainer put the bridle on each horse and demonstrated riding them. All 4 horses ran smoothly, and none of them attempted to throw the trainer off. The king was amazed. He asked, "How did you do this? No one has been able to achieve this before." The trainer replied, "First, I spent time with the horses, giving them freedom and becoming their friend. I earned their trust. Then, when I ran, they followed me. Gradually, I introduced the saddle, and they began running with me. Later, I started riding them." The king was very pleased and rewarded the trainer with gold coins. He also hired him permanently to care for the horses. Now, this is a story you must have enjoyed, but what lessons can we learn from it? Every person has 4 wild horses within them that they cannot control. The horse of anxiety, the horse of anger, the horse of arrogance, and the horse of greed. The trainer in the story represents your mind, your intellect, and your understanding. You must train these 4 horses with your intellect so that they remain under your control. To do this, you must first become friends with them, understand them, and then guide them. This process will take time and patience. You cannot control them through force or in a single day. Let's first talk about the horse of anxiety. Worrying about a problem never solves it. If you have a problem in life, you should try to approach it with a calm mind, reflect on it thoughtfully, and only then will you find a solution. Worrying will never help. Next is the horse of anger. Anger harms you whether or not it harms others. There are times when anger is justified, such as when someone insults or wrongs you. However, you must learn when, where, and how much to get angry. With the help of your intellect, you must learn to control your anger gradually. The third horse is the horse of arrogance. We must have self-confidence but not arrogance. We should be proud of ourselves, but we should never let that pride turn into arrogance. We must teach this lesson to the third horse with the help of our intellect. Finally, the fourth horse is greed. Greed for knowledge is good, but greed for wealth without knowledge is harmful. Greed for earning through hard work and smart thinking is good, but greed for quick wealth through dishonest means is bad. You must understand this distinction with your intellect and ensure that you are not driven by unhealthy greed. So, in life, learn something new every day, think differently, and keep improving.